So I want to stress on you the important fact of downloading your pictures from Google Drive. You're going to have to get the pictures from Google Drive onto your computer before you open them up in Photoshop. Or if you're using Pixlr, the application for your Chromebook, you're going to be able to open that up directly from Google Drive. All right? Check that out. Download the app. It lets you pull images right into Pixlr from Google Drive. So I've already downloaded a folder of images from a student for an example. Just don't forget that you have to download them. And once I have them downloaded, I can actually open them up in Photoshop. I have them right here. Just a couple samples. I only have a couple images here. And again, this is an example. It's not definitive. I just want to show you how you would go about doing it. I'm going to right-click on my MacBook to open with and choose Photoshop. All right, it's going to open those images up. And once they're open, there's a couple different things I need to do. Because I want to create a professional level contact sheet that can be printed and look nice on a printer, we want to make sure that the resolution is good. So if we go to image and choose image size, it's going to tell me that my dimension is 42 inches by 32 inches, which is really huge. But my resolution is fairly low at 72. That's a screen resolution. So we would want to up the resolution and shrink down the dimension of the image to something that's workable. Now I could set this to a specific size and resolution here, but that doesn't necessarily give me the advantage of cropping something that I could look at the picture in a completely different way. So instead of doing it with image size, I'm going to go ahead and choose the crop tool, and with the crop tool selected, I can select a width, height, and resolution specifically for this picture. And in the sheet on the back, it says 4x4 and 4x6. Those are two of the main sizes you're going to be using. In a little bit, I'll show you that maybe we could use something that is even smaller to fill in some of the gaps. But for now, I'm going to fill this in with 6 inches wide by 4 inches tall at 300 pixels per inch. And then I can make the adjustment here to select only the portion of the image I want to have, either double clicking or choosing the checkbox, and now I have my cropped image. Okay, so with one function, you can crop and select, resize your image and have it ready to go. So I'm going to do that for a couple of these. Here's an example. I'm just going to double click that, make it ready to go. This one right here, instead of doing it in landscape, I'm going to change the orientation. Just clicking on the arrows resets the width and the height to the opposite. So now I can adjust that as well. You'll notice I can do something interesting by rotating things. So if you didn't quite get the angle you wanted, you can readjust the angle here. Ha 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 ha. All right, so I'm just going to go through a couple of these, get them cropped off. This one I really like. This one I'm going to change to, instead of 4x6, I'm going to do 4x4. Double click that. All right, so I got a couple here, and now I need to create a document that it can go on, okay? So by choosing File and New, I'm going to pick a size, okay? I don't know exactly how big I want. I know I need 2-inch margins around the outside and 1 inch in the middle. So I'm going to start at a size I know, which is about 13 by 19. That's an A3 printable size. And I'm going to leave the resolution set to 300. Click OK. Now that I have a document, I want to set some margins, and I'm going to use rulers. So I'll press Command R to turn on my rulers, or go to View and choose Rulers from the drop-down to turn those on. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. And what do my margins need to be? 2 inches. So I'm going to drag from the ruler down a guide to 2 inches on the corner. And now I know where I'm going to place my first image. So I'll just go ahead back to here, choose this image, and drag it over to the contact sheet and put it in position. Okay? Now, I could go about this in a couple different ways, but I want to create some variety in my layout. So maybe I'll go to one of my, let's do a 4x4 crop for this. And see if we can drag it into Dogs of War. I'm going to bring it into there. I need more space. Just going to reorder this for a second. Okay. Oh my goodness. I lost all my Photoshop mojo. There we go. Okay, so I need an inch here. I actually happen to have this laid out, so by moving an inch away from here, I'm going to bump into the edge. And I already said I need 2-inch margins on all sides, so I'm going to have to make this a larger document. But I kind of like my layout here, 4x6, 4x4, and then I could alternate that back and forth if I wanted to. I could even put a different kind of orientation on here, so I take my portrait orientation, drag that into here, check my margins by pulling another guide down. Here I'm at 6, I need to go down to 7. Just going to move this out of the way. And then drag my image back into place so I got nice margins there. But I do need to fix the right side margin. So I'm going to go to Image and choose Canvas Size. Instead of changing the size of the image, I'm going to move the amount of space I have on the artboard. And I'm going to adjust that to be 2 inches wider. So I'm going to go from 13 to 15. But I'm also going to tell it that I only want it to move out to the right. So I'm clicking here on this far left box so everything pushes out to the right. Click OK, and now I've got my 2-inch additional margin. So you can see you can be flexible when you're adding your images. And if you don't have the size set correctly the first time, it's easy to change at any point, okay? Just start building. So from here, I'm going to close the ones that I have in. Let's take this one. This is going to be a 4x6. Flip that. Crop that. Wow. And then I will drag this into here, and it's going to start to lock things into place. So it'll recognize that it's there. Hold on, just let me finish this real quick. I'm almost done, and then we can do that. Okay. So one thing I want to point out is the fact that when you start alternating the orientation, you're going to see that there's a discrepancy in where they line up at the bottom. So one thing you can do to solve that problem is just to position where a margin would be if it was 1 inch below the portrait orientation or if it was 1 inch below the landscape orientation. And then you could go ahead and start plopping other images into there and maybe alternate them back and forth. So here now might be a good chance to line up an image here and then maybe one more landscape-oriented image to the left of it here. So that fills out the space pretty good. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 images in here. I would need a total of 16. So I might want to add another row. And something you might notice as well, that I don't have the full 2 inches at the bottom. So in order to accommodate another row of images, that let's say I wanted to put a row that's landscape and then a 4x6 and a 4x4 photo, I need to add an additional 1 inch for my margin and 4 inches for the picture to accommodate it, and another inch in between the other two. So I'm looking at 4, 5, 6 additional images. I'm going to change the canvas size and make the height to 25 from 19. And just as an example, I think I'll grab these 2 images, copy it down, and position that in place. Okay. Now, please verify that when you're positioning these that you are actually in the correct places, that you have the 1 inch margin. If I hide my guides, you can see I've got a pretty good layout. It's on a nice grid. I just have a little space here in the middle that's perfectly acceptable. Even though it's more than the inch, that's fine. It's still, everything is laid out nicely on the grid. So I have now my 8 pictures here, and really what I'm interested in doing is having everything on one. So I'm going to reformat this so that I could have all 8 of my images on one sheet. And to do that, I basically need to take the entire height of the document, which is 25, subtract a 2-inch margin from the top and the center and figure out what I need to add back into that, and then add another inch in between. So I'm going to take 25 minus 2 inches on top and bottom, that's 4, so that leaves 21. And I'm going to take another 1 inch away to separate between the 2 sets of 8 pictures. So that leaves 20 inches that I want to add to this. So this is going to be 45, right? Did I do my math right? But I don't want to do that in image size. Sorry, I want to do that in canvas size. So I'm going to set 25 to be 45, drop that down from the top. And now I'm just going to, by an example, show you what it would look like if I had all 16 images placed in here with 2-inch margins all the way around and 1-inch margins in between. I'm going to go to full screen, tab, Command R, get memory ruler. So you're going to have something in the end in terms of a professional looking contact sheet that looks similar to this. And you can see, it looks like I messed up. Can you guys see where I messed up? I messed up in the middle. I need to add another inch. So I'm going to go back to canvas size and add 1 more inch because I actually didn't separate out the margin here. Or maybe I need to add another inch. Somehow I didn't do my math right. And that got me messed up. The point is, it can easily be fixed and adjusted so that you have the correct margins set. Just make sure that you're looking at it and measuring. Still, as I look at this, my margins are not correct. There's no shame in messing up the first time as long as you go back and fix it. I only have 1 inch here. I need to add another inch so that I have 2 inches at the bottom. All right, so that's how that's done. And I'll post this up for you guys on Academy Central, so if you need to look at it or watch it, you can see it in the future. Good thing I recorded it.